Welcome to Unit 1 of Lesson 7. This is called At the Core. One of my best friends, Steve Del Greco, is a person whom I admire dearly. Anyone who knows Steve would definitely question why I've reserved his story for this lesson all about being selfish, because he's probably the least selfish person I know. He's genuine, he's kind, he's caring, and he loves almost everyone, and everyone loves him. He's really a person of great value who adds value to people every single day. At any given time, there is someone calling on Steve to, for his insight, wisdom, for advice, anything. He's just one of those guys that you reach out to. And him and his wife, Donna, whom I'm equally as close to, do very well for themselves. Yet they live relatively simple lives. You know, they live in the city and they really enjoy the simple things in life. About being with good friends and family, good food, good wine, travel, and just really enjoying life. And Steve was one of the first people I actually spoke to when I was about to write my book about contributing, because he consistently shows up in life, whether as a husband, as a friend, as a colleague, a mentor, student. He is always there. He's all in. And Steve, regardless of the day or the circumstance, and he really spends most of his days being the best version of himself that he can be. So when I asked Steve to share his secret with me so I could share it with you, he said, there's a fine line between being selfish and being true to yourself. Wow. I love that. I find that sheer brilliance. To be true to yourself, you have to live by your values. And there's no right or wrong values. They're personal. They are intrinsically tied to who you are as a person. And Steve explains that being true to himself and his values is what really gets him through every single decision and obstacle in life. And he credits his parents for instilling such strong values within him at a very early age. And while instilling these values, they really encouraged him to be his own person. So to do what was right for him. So being armed with strong moral values really gave him the strength and confidence, which allows him to believe in himself. Refrain from that peer pressure or being sucked into other people's negativity. Steve jokes that being true to yourself doesn't mean that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. He tries to see things from other people's perspectives, which I would have to say that's probably one of Steve's greatest strengths. And he tries to be a good person and make a positive difference in the lives of others. And, although he says you may not always get rewarded for doing the right thing, when you're living by your values, you can be confident that when you face challenges, you'll face them with strong conviction and know that whichever decision you make will be in line with your morals. So when Steve's working through a problem, or if he's stuck, he really reflects on his values and what he believes in. And he assesses the end game, so in order to seek clarity on how to get there. And he really relies on, people closest to him, his inner circle, for strength and support and or validation. So, having strong values really has a direct impact on your beliefs and therefore your mindset. What we believe about our values really dictates how we show up in life. So Steve goes on to say that humans are very good at fooling themselves. So when you ask a question of yourself, you really have to answer that question honestly. And if you don't, you're only fooling yourself. If you don't like the answers that you're hearing or seeing, he says, maybe it's time to revisit those values. So Steve shared this poem with me, which really demonstrates how he lives. And I'm really excited to share it with you. It was written by Dale Wimbrough and published in 1943 in the American magazine. And it's called The Guy in the Glass. And it goes like this. When you get what you want in your struggle for pelf, and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that guy has to say. For it isn't your father, mother, or wife who judgment upon you must pass. The feller whose verdict counts most in your life is the guy staring back from the glass. He's the feller to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you've passed your most dangerous, difficult test if the guy in the glass is your friend. You may be like Jack Horner and chisel a plum and think you're a wonderful guy, but the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. You can fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but the final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the guy in the glass. Every time I read it, I get this energy running through me. It's just such a powerful, powerful poem and beautiful words of wisdom. And it really also feeds into the notion of self-acceptance that we, talk about it a little bit later in this lesson. We really only have ourselves to be accountable to. So this is what I mean when I say be devilishly selfish. Your values are yours and mine are mine. Nobody else's. We can't steal them, lend them out, or break up with them. Remaining true to our values really allows us to be comfortable with our decisions and the choices that we make. And it really dictates how we show up in life, not only for ourselves, but also for others. So remember Steve's words of wisdom when answering these questions. When you ask questions of yourself, you must answer them honestly. And if you don't, you're only fooling yourself. That's it for Unit 1 of Lesson 7. We'll see you in the next video where we talk about success, that it's not final, and failure is not fatal. Can't wait to see you there.